Hello YouTube world, my name is Jordan Ray, and today we're talking about sheet IDs in Google Apps Script. Now, I'm not talking about the spreadsheet ID, it can be very confusing, but the spreadsheet ID is that jumble of letters and numbers in the URL that comes between the D / and then the next /. Get a whole big jumble of numbers. The sheet ID itself comes after the hash mark at the end where these URL parameters live. And it should say something like GID equals, and then you get the sheet ID. Now, the very first sheet is always going to be 0, at least from my understanding, it'll always be 0. And then as you create more sheets, for example, here I've got a sheet 2, and the GID equals, we get another number here, and then sheet 3, it's going to have another number here, some sort of generated number. Now, how do we reflect that in code? That's going to be pretty simple. Let's just grab our spreadsheet, save that to a variable SS, and then grab the sheet, get sheet by name, and let's say sheet 1. And then let's say sheet ID equals sheet.getSheetID. And we can log that to the console. Now I think this will give us some sort of strange number. No, it gives us, that's fine, 0.0. Even though we technically really only want it to be a just 0. So that's right, sheet 1 is 0. But let's see what happens when we put in, let's do sheet 3, not sheet 4. And then run that, and we get 5.9123 ending with E8. Now, that should be 591232091. And that's fine. That's just the way that Google Apps Script is interpreting that integer. It's giving that integer in I believe it's scientific notation. We can fix that by running toString, and that should actually convert that into the number that we're looking for. Okay, that's fine. But then how can we find a sheet by this ID? And why would we want to? Well, the name itself of the sheet is not necessarily a constant value, right? Right now I have sheet 1, sheet 2, and sheet 3, but I could maybe change these later to accounts, users, and then maybe expenses. There's all kinds of different options there. Well, let's create a function that will get the sheet ID. And we'll pass we want to get sheet by ID. Yeah, let's do it that way. Get sheet by ID. We'll pass in the ID. And what we're going to do here is we'll say all the sheets. We're going to say spreadsheet app.get active spreadsheet get sheets. And this returns an array of sheets. Well, with that array, what we're going to have to do is filter that down. So what we want to return ends up being sheets.filter. And we want to filter each sheet. And we want to return the sheet.getSheetID equal to ID. And that's what we're going to, it's going to be very first element of this array that we're going to then return. So let's create a test, and let's say, let's just call it sheet equals get sheet by ID, and let's pass in, let's say sheet 3. Okay, let's see where we are here. Let's log sheet. Oh, I gotta actually run. Oh, and I had the syntax error there, but we've got to actually run this. Oh, no, I'm not running my function anymore. In fact, let's just remove my function. I want to run test. And what do we get here? Undefined. Okay, why does that say undefined? Well, actually pretty simple, easy fix. Because I am doing a strict equals here and I'm passing in a string, it's actually failing. It should be an integer. Now I can actually, I could like parse as an integer, but the easiest fix is just to change that from a strict equals to the double equals. And that should actually give us, and in fact, you know what? It'd be a better way to display the name. So let's do get name. And now we should see sheet 3 here. Yeah, perfect. So that is basically just passing in that ID, then returning the sheet to wherever we're calling it, right? So this kind of custom function that we've written allows us to do that. Now, this is a pretty short video, so let's just extend it a little bit and do one more thing instead of so we can keep our strict equals here. Let's pass in this ID still as a string, but let's parse int. And that should work the exact same way. Perfect. Well, it didn't really extend it that much, but I hope that this kind of sheds some light on how to kind of manipulate the sheet IDs, kind of work with that a little bit more. Very beneficial if you're going to be changing the names of your sheets often. However, you're going to have to be working with some filters and iterating over the sheets that way. Cheers, everyone. Talk to you soon.